Let's get it. WhatItBe.com, baby. Check it out. The latest and the greatest. What it is. Yeah, it's time to log in. What it be? What you need? You like what you see?
What it be? It's ACE in the heart of the city. We're here today at the Charles H. Wright Museum in the heart of the city of Detroit for a hip hop symposium. I think it's going to be a beautiful dialogue all about what's going on, hip hop in the world, from where it came from to where it's going, and everything in between. We also have a tribute to one of the greatest hip hop pioneers of all time, Rakim. So I'm really here, and I really feel like I'm in for a treat. So maybe when this thing over, we can, talk again, let you know how I felt about the whole thing. But, once again, ACE, we're in the heart of the city, just letting you know what's going on. What It Be TV, be. Stay tuned. Yeah.
Hip-hop is always identified with oppressed people. Hip-hop is always identified with rebellious people, independent people. And hip-hop is always identified with weak people. I think the truth is, the idea that hip-hop is a young person's culture. First of all, that's marketing. You could say rap, because that's the part of the culture that was marketed the heaviest. But really, the culture should grow and evolve with the people. As we go, it goes. Right now, a lot of brothers in the community in hip hop who are our age, and 30-somethings, we're talking about hip hop, but we're talking about it in the context of our health, the fabric of our lives, because we're attributing it to the flow of what's going on in the community right now. We're looking at some of the cats that we lost over the years, just here in the city of Detroit. Some who have taken ill. Shout out to Hex, as he recovers. Rest in peace, Dilla. We lost Lane. We lost Proof. We lost Yale. Yale Miller. We lost by 10. And the issues surrounding the losses of those brothers who are angels in this community. It has to do with mental health. It has to do with addiction. It has to do with violence. It has to do with the need to take care of ourselves.
What hip hop records have served as motivation in your life?
Yeah, I think my philosophy basically because, that was, that was like, let's say when KRS-One had crossed over, and realized his influence, and it was like that whole album was so powerful to me because it was like this reality that we were all living in because, I did work in Detroit, 12th Street, and we had all the 12th Street gang, Gucci Boys, and all that crazy stuff, and it was like, you could just get killed just trying to go to school every day if you, looked at somebody, honestly, and they didn't like the fact you could have looked at them by accident, and it was like, for him to, change over from, this one philosophy that of this is the streets and it's the reality and this type of thing into look, elevate yourself, move into a new direction.
I would say NWA fuck the police. And then also at the same time, the same year, when Public Enemy runs about, and I'm going to talk about how these affected, me in an autobiographical way, concrete, not just my philosophy, but the action that I ended up taking. And then at the same time, Public Enemy had that song where he talked about, Joanne Chesmar. So at that point, I became familiar through these lyrics with Assata Shakur, who I read her autobiography. And I was motivated to do action around her case. Assata Shakur is in political exile in Cuba. She was liberated and out of a jail in New Jersey after she was convicted by a kangaroo court for killing a police officer on the New Jersey Turnpike. In New York, I found myself being mentored by some of the people who were Assata's comrades. So we founded some like-minded people in Brooklyn. We founded the Brooklyn chapter of the Malcolm X grassroots movement. And so two of the things that we began to do was to organize in Brooklyn against, I didn't have this experience Detroit so much. I don't know what Detroit's police force, I haven't lived here since 1990, but, and I'm sure we have incidents of police brutality, but in New York it was widespread and systematic. It's police terrorism, actually. So we began to organize around police brutality. We organized programs in projects in Fort Greene and throughout Bed-Stuy called Cop Watch, where we would arm kids as young as those here in the front with video cameras, and we would follow the police making their illegal arrests and meditate them and observe, and of course our rights, and we do the Know Your Rights campaign. And then we also began to work on political prisoners cases. And that was one of the things that growing up, I didn't even know that we have political prisoners in the United States. And this is all, again, from a KRS lyric and from an NWA lyric.
I learned that from Maurice Malone, straight up. I learned so much from working from Maurice Malone. I used to like help him run the hip hop shop. I was one of Maurice's first parties. I didn't know how to write press release, but whatever. We used to be CEOs making press releases, cutting out Theo's pictures, cutting, copying and pasting back in the day, whatever. But I learned how to work Quicken. I learned how to use an accounting system for the hip hop shop. You know, I watched him set up open mics with crew, like Sabotage and had Spade and Sakari dance in the window. You know, I learned all these different things, and I used it to build my institution, World Wide Press, and I understood through hip hop that I could own something in this culture. That not just somebody's gonna give me something, I'm gonna buy it and be a consumer, but I'm actually gonna take a part of it and put my name in it and build something to give away to my son or whoever wanted, you know, but I don't want to do it forever. I'm tired right now. So anyway, that's the point. I don't know what the point I was making, but I wanted to say.
The first time I heard the record Dope on NWA. When I heard that record, I could not believe what I was listening to. Because they was addressing a reality that I was looking right at. As I'm listening to the lyrics, I'm looking at the guys on the corner selling crack, you know what I'm saying? And eventually, that was a path in my life that evolved, you know what I'm saying? After that, later on, after I got knowledge of self, I was coming out of the streets. That's where Only Built for Cuban Links Ray Wild. You know, after that, you know, I was on my journey. You know what I'm saying? So things just got more spiritual, musically open after that. Peace.
Man, I feel like I'm in hip hop church and we not paying our dues right now. Okay, if you know it, say it. If you don't know it, don't say it. Just hum, like when you don't know the song in church, alright? Just hum it, alright? I came in the door, said it before. Can I sing? Man. You about to go through the whole song up here. I'm with it. Alright, Kari, talk about your experiences with Rakim and his music influence on hip hop.
I was MCing, and back then, I think everybody, me, my friends, and everybody around me, we were pretty much influenced by Real DMC and Houdini. And you know, our rhyme style spoke to that. You know, 2 years ago, a friend of mine asked me to say some MC rhymes, and then I heard check out my melody, and I tripped on the difference in the cadence. You know, the pauses in between lines. You know,
When he started to break down the divinity of the black man, he used Rakim record. And he said, I blessed the mic with the gods. He said, you remember that part? I said, yeah. He said he was talking about men. He was talking about men. So that stood out to me. So what his music represents for me, it represents a new journey, a whole new different awareness. It took me to a whole nother level. I want to be who I am. You know,
because you gotta love yourself before you love anybody else. You know what I mean? So we're gonna do that on 3. 1, 2, 3. I love me. Peace to everybody. We love you too.
Let's get it. WhatItBe.com, baby. Check it out. The latest and the greatest. Yeah, it's time to log in. What it be? What you need?